Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Cheryl Shaft. Welcome to Performance Racing League. We are here in Canada. Lovely, lovely Canada. And I'm joined by the wonderful, the magnificent, the rambunctious Femi Thrustmaster. Hello, Femi.
Hello. Is that any more compliments?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I said rambunctious. I'm not fully 100% sure what it means. So I don't know if it's
I
a
don't know if that's a
compliment.
good thing or bad thing, but I'll take it.
Cool. I mean, I can throw some other words out there that I'm not fully 100% sure the meaning of, and then you can decide whether they're compliments or insults.
No, we'll leave it there. Hi, how you
Okay.
doing? How's your weekend?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Uh, my weekend has been prepping for this race. All sorts of data tracking, data mining, getting some good information down, and also in anticipation of talking a lot of rubbish, I've been thinking of things. So hopefully that will help. How about yourself?
Same. I actually spent a week hiding in Nico John's cupboard, watching what he did to see if that could kind of help me when I get to tier 2 race later.
Ah, yes, solid. I think we've all been there.
I mean, it's a nice cupboard.
It is a nice cover. Just be wary. He gets a bit feisty if he catches you.
Yeah, I found that out, unfortunately.
Did you? Oh, that's a story for another
we,
day.
we, we won't talk about that.
No, I don't think legally you can you? No. Anyway, we're here at Tier 1. We've got about 7.5 minutes left of qualifying. We'll let the kind of times start filtering through, and we'll kind of start looking at it in a serious context in a few minutes' time once we get an idea of, people on their final runs and things like that. I know, Femi, you've been looking at the standings, which we'll come to in a second. But firstly, just want to say to anyone watching live, feel free to say hello. It'd be lovely to chat to you. There's two of us here, so two people for you to abuse. I know some of you who are probably watching live because you do it every week. Love to abuse me.
There's currently 6 people watching you live and can watch
There are.
your
There
rambling.
are 6 people to abuse me, so feel free, vent yourself. This is your free therapy session, and yeah, if you're watching it after, then tough. Don't throw any abuse in the comments because I'll delete them. So Femi,
Hello.
tell me how's Tier 1 doing? What's the standings looking like? Who are the
Well,
ones to watch?
Well, the one to watch is Giannis, who literally now all Suzuki just spun on the straight. That's a good place to spin. Giannis went and won Premier Tier on track. He unfortunately had penalties, so dropped down to second. But to go and reserve in a higher tier and win is pretty impressive. So it's hard to look past him, especially as also, according to the stats here, he's also winning the title right now. So I think he's probably the favourite for this. But as we all know, after a race, she absolutely shattered. So is that going to actually play against him? Equally, Shep's gone and reserved in the Premier, and now he's reserving in Tier 1. So God knows how he's going to be in Tier 2 later on. But I don't know. I think it's one of these tracks where rain is a great equaliser. We saw earlier. Anything could genuinely happen here. It's a tricky one, certainly for corner cutting penalties, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I definitely think this is one of those tracks where penalties has such a massive impact because it's so difficult to stay clean throughout the whole race that realistically you can almost assume there's going to be 3 seconds across the board. So definitely one, yeah, where clean driving you can cash in more so than maybe some other tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely from last week, I was fortunate enough to commentate Tier 1, and I definitely remember in particular, the Aston Martin duo, ones to watch. The Ferrari of Giannis, as you mentioned, one to watch. I believe he's maybe 5th or 6th in standings, but the Hammer has got 2 podiums in his last 2 races, a 3rd and a 2nd. So I'm sure he'll be hoping he can go one better and record his first PRL win. But yeah, I definitely would put him in the ones to watch category. Hoping that we can have a very close race today, because I mean, looking at the qualifying timings, it does feel like we've got a little bit of a breakaway at the top, but hopefully the race will equalise that.
Hopefully, I mean, we've still got enough time for probably each driver to do one more. qualifying lap. I can see right now Innes 4 is winding up for his lap, so I think we've probably got enough time for everyone to put another lap in. So hopefully some of the guys further down can close in those times.
Yes, and if we start taking a look at the qualifying laps, interestingly, so we've got the Aston Martin duo.
Completely ignore that. Innes went and pitted, so completely ignore what I just said.
No worries. I'll make sure to do that frequently throughout the race today.
Thank you so much.
You are more than welcome, Femi. So as predicted, the Aston Martin duo are near the top. Also, interestingly, so Suzuki, those who may be new to PRL this season might not necessarily be aware of Suzuki as he is a reserve this season, but he is a bit of a PRL legend. He's been around the same time I joined, so sort of season 2, 4 seasons ago. He is famously, and I mean famously with every letter of that word, he is famously someone who has ridiculous pace, but a 90% crash rate. So I am fully anticipating pole position, several purple laps in the race, and a DNF. So keep your eye on him. He will be solid entertainment. But yeah, it's interesting that he's up there. Beating the Aston Martin duo, which is very impressive. I think this is his first, maybe second race of the season. And then there is a half a second gap to GNS, and then another half a second to Innis 4. So I wonder if that level of difference in terms of pace will translate through. Do you feel like, Femi, I'm going to throw a question to you now so I can stop talking. Do you feel like Canada is one of those tracks where one-off lap pace is representative, or do you feel like consistency is a bigger thing for drivers around here?
Oh, Russell's just retired. Why you said that? Not sure he's retired, but I think he's retired in the pits actually. So he knows that. No, I think this is one of those tracks where consistency, because it's so easy to kind of get penalties, so easy to make mistakes. If you slightly take I'm gonna get my little track back up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 3, all the kind of the double left, right, left. Sorry. If you lose a bit of time there, you're kind of scuppered for the long straight following it. So it is all about consistency. Of course, you don't want to get caught up in the mess at the start, but consistency is much more important here over one lap pace. I would say more so than some of the more forgiving tracks on the calendar that give you a bit of runoff and kind of aren't so bad if you take a bit of a wobble at a corner. So yeah, I think consistency is definitely key here.
Yes, very much so. Just a few comments to shout out as we see the Hammer crossing the line. Won't be improving in this lap. See if he goes in for another. Chaos, lovely to see you. Fully expecting abuse to come from yourself. Suzuki's in the chat, so he's driving and he's got his phone open in the car with Twitch.
My big thing with what Suzuki's in the chat, he says he until 2 o'clock has done practice. We don't know where he lives. That could have been 14 hours ago.
Okay. Again.
That might not be a particularly proud thing that, wow, he practiced at 2 o'clock. That literally could have been all day.
Yeah, that is true. However, again, I'm going to add a little bit of PRL knowledge here as Suzuki is a seasoned veteran and say that if you've heard his voice, which I have, I've had the pleasure of listening to his beautiful angelic tones, know within a split second that he could not be more English sounding. So I think he's...
Well, that's even rubbish, because it's 7 o'clock now, so he's had 5 hours. Okay, cool. You have 5 hours of practice. I mean, that's not particularly much of a problem.
Wow. Cool. Right. Who had 5 minutes for Femi to get angry on their
there we go.
sweepstake?
As I said that, GNS is currently pole, by the way. Suzuki's currently. I'm gonna be nice now. Suzuki's currently up on his lap. No, hang on. He's smashing it right now, so he might be proving me wrong here. He's on the last sector now. He's currently just under a tenth up on his best time, which would be enough for pole if he smashes this. It's got a little bit of a slipstream in front of him as well, which is great. Round the final corner, he goes, takes it lovely, he does, up to the line. He doesn't quite. He loses a bit of time in the last corner, unfortunately, but still seconds are great effort there, ahead of the whole competition's best driver in GNS currently.
Yes. Looking at the other cast, we've got Monkey Paw coming through next, the Red Bull coming through the Wall of Champions. Oh, speaking of, he's just absolutely binned it.
He's gone.
We'll leave him then. We'll jump to GK Base. Is he going to prove he does?
Oh,
He
he's
moves
gone
into
pole.
10.3. Fantastic
Great
lap
lap.
there. We've got another Red Bull. Is it Butler? Is he going to improve? He doesn't improve, unfortunately. We've got Nico John. He's currently a 10th down. He's going to need to absolutely smash this final sector. Oh, just avoiding the wall. Does he manage to improve on his lap time? He doesn't, unfortunately not. I think that might be our lot. It is. I think that is everything. So, quite a few improvements adding on there. So we've got GK Base, who is going to take pole. The Aston Martin, or 1:10.3. Fantastic lap there. G Innes 10.4 in second. Suzuki only 22 hundredths behind, taking P3. Only Tetra, the other Aston Martin, in P4 with 1:10.5. And then we've got, I hate to say this, but the rest of the grid. So I imagine we're going to see those four taking the forefront. Suzuki having his commemorative crash at some point in the race, and then almost a staple top three, unless anything else happens. But yeah, just a finish of the recap there. Ramsey, I don't know where he came from. He's
P5. Doing our job and paying attention, weren't we? Clearly.
No, we're talking about being professional before the race, and we've got into the whimsy maybe a bit too early. The Hammer will start in P6. We've got Innis 4 in P7, Wafflehead in P8, Tar Heels 48 in P9, Robsu in P10, Monkey Pill in T11, Palani 26 in P12, AD Shep P13, Rusty Oil Camp P14, Craig in P15, Nico John P16, W Butler in P17, and Jesper 88 with no lap time set. Will start at the back of the grid in P18.
Well done, with the seconds to spare.
Yeah, I should have probably timed it a bit better, so I literally said it as it hit 0. That'd probably been cool.
Shout out there. We obviously agreed there's a bit of 4 people at the front, but shout out to Ramsey. Similar thing. He's leading tier 2 with us, and he'll be racing later. But then to put it in 5th, regardless of the gap, to put it in 5th in a higher tier is a hell of an effort. So great effort on his part there.
Fantastic effort. Yes, very much so. Some more comments. We've got Tac Delta. Suggesting that Suzuki's crash rate is a bit more generous. I think, did I say 90 or 95% crash rate for Suzuki? I forget what I said now. But Tax suggesting it's a very specific 91.3%. But yeah, depending on what my initial comment was, I don't know if that's criticising Suzuki more
here,
or not.
That's correct, yes, it is.
Cool, thank you very much.
A 91.3%.
Thank you, Mr. Stat Person. Thank you, appreciate that.
Very welcome.
Suzuki still chatting. Suzuki, pay attention to your mechanics and engineers, all right? Put your phone down. Oliver, lovely to see you back, mate. It's been a little while. Another incredibly fast driver, who I had the pleasure of racing in the same constructor as last season. He was a Williams boy. Hello. Of course I remember you, mate. Tack criticising my statistics. Tack, I don't know where that comment's come from. He's suggesting that if I'm going to give statistics, I've got to get it right. I don't know, not to say that my statistics are always correct, but I've never marketed myself as someone who gives correct statistics, so I feel like that's a false criticism. But, I mean, that's why Femi's here, so, you can take all of the L's in that front now, Femi.
Another stat here, 100% of the things you say are wrong.
Femi's really cool. Wow, you really took the L on that one, Femi. You really took the L on that one.
Touche.
I mean, Chaos is saying I'm never correct. So yeah, that's a double L. I mean,
I'm really enjoying Tack bigging me up here. Thank you, Tack.
Wait, how has this happened? I jump every time I commentate. I get nothing but abuse in the comments. As soon as someone else joins me, everyone just naturally sides with them.
It's just my natural kind of warm, positive nature.
I mean, this is going to sound incredibly egotistical, but I genuinely don't think it's you. I think it's, for some reason...
Wow.
For some reason, everyone, whether it's you or anyone else, if I co-commentate with someone, the chat just sides with them in every aspect, regardless of who they are. I don't know what I've done to when you share the booth, you get the shaft. I mean, I feel like that needs the context of my name is Cheryl Shaft. That's not tack being incredibly crude. Let's have some decorum here.
It's not even 9 o'clock yet, you know.
I know it's not Watershed yet.
That's the watershed, exactly.
I was going to
Well, it depends what it is.
say Watershed, is that a UK term? It's probably.
No,
it's a UK word.
Suzuki's been awake for the last 36 hours practicing, so you know.
Yeah, he didn't. He said 2 p.m. I just realised he didn't say what day. He's been practicing 2 p.m. 3 days ago. He's been literally done double all-nighter just to prepare for this race. And he didn't even get pole, so I don't think it's even worth it, is it? Right. Anyway.
Wow. So you. Yeah.
I know. I can say all that.
Place.
I can say all that because I haven't raced yet, so I don't know how good I'm going to do or how bad I'm going to do.
You had a pole yet this season? Have you had a pole?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I've had a couple of poles.
Oh. Ramsey's allowed you at first place.
Rude.
No, Ramsey's just very good.
I know. Still rude. Right, 5 seconds left. The guys have the guys and girls and in betweens have set up their cars ready to go. So we'll have a look at their tyres and see as they sort out the formation up. Yes.
Majority of the cars are on hard. I'll actually let you talk this through. You've got it on the screen right now.
I do, yeah, but you are absolutely correct. We've got almost everyone on hards. We've got 4 mediums, Wafflehead in 8th, Tar Heels in 9th, Monkey Peel in 11th, and Nico John in 16th, which is very interesting. I'm not going to lie, I anticipated a bit more of a split. I mean, all of the races we've seen so far this season has been, give or take, at its most extreme, 60-40% difference. So, especially the guys at the front, the medium tyres warm up quicker. They are a better driving tyre in the short term, and so I'm surprised that at least one of the cars near the front is not utilising the mediums to maybe try and get an early jump on a few people. How do you see the tyre strategies playing out?
I think, as we discussed at the beginning, there is likely to be some sort of safety car at some point. So I think it's one of those ones, as we all know, that if the safety car jumps out early, the mediums have a little bit of an advantage there. So that's usually where the splits kind of come in, where being on hards can kind of scupper that a little bit. But it's interesting seeing as everyone's going for a very similar process. There's a kind of consistency in what everyone's saying. So we'll see. Maybe the 4 who are on mediums, it might give them a little bit of a advantage. But hopefully we get through the first few laps nice and clean. It doesn't become a playing factor. We don't really want safety car to be the one to neutralise the race if we can help it. So.
No, not at all. And as we see the cars coming onto the starting grid now at the end of the formation lap, final words from you, Femi. Can I get a prediction for a podium, please?
I'm going to go for GNS winning. Inez 4 second. I'm going to go for Nico John 3rd. Do you know what? I think he deserves it.
Oof! The Williams boys are siding with each other.
Yeah, what can I say?
Great prediction. Right, the final cars lining up, so we are almost ready to go. Femi, if you want to keep an eye towards the back of the grid, keep us updated on any incidents that occur. But here we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights are out, and away we go here. Tier 1 in Canada. Looks like a good start for the Aston Martin. A little bit squirrely, but we'll keep the position. The Ferrari getting a bit swamped as the car's now filling into turn 1. Looks pretty clean so far, and it looks like Suzuki's got the early jump and will move into second place. Giannis in third. The Hammer's had a jump. Looks like it's been a bit of a scrap towards the back, Femi. What have we got?
Yeah, Monkey Pill seemed to hit on the straight going down to turn 1, and Rusty got caught up in something. So unfortunately, those two fell to the back. But Rusty's only about 5 seconds behind. He's not been affected too badly.
Good to hear, good to hear. So yeah, it looks like the early starter, Suzuki jumping up into first position. Giannis and Suzuki now fighting each other. And Suzuki, I don't know what's happened to him. He's falling back. He had damage. He's lost his front wing. Suzuki having a fantastic start. Started in third, moved up to second after the first corner. But that looks like it's going to absolutely sink him to the back of the grid. And he's got the entire half of a track now to get back into the pits. What that does mean, however, Giannis has recovered back up to second position. The Hammer has now moved up into third position from 6th on the grid. Fantastic start for him. Ramsey has moved up 1 to 4th. Innes has moved up as well. Some fantastic. The kind of lower top half have had a brilliant start with a few players now falling behind. We'll just keep an eye though on which cars jump into the pits, but Oh, is that Giannis? Oh, Giannis has lost it. Giannis has lost it. It looks like he's lost his front wing. Spinning from the wall of champions. Has he lost his front wing?
He has indeed.
He's got some sort of damage, I believe. He's now fallen back to 14th.
He's lost an end plate. He's lost his left end plate.
He's lost his end plate. Oh, we'll wait to see whether that amount of damage is enough for him to need to jump into the pits. Because in these cars this year, the front wing is less important for the aerodynamics. So he might be able to get away with staying out for now. But he has lost a heap of time and a crazy amount of positions. And all of these early mistakes, you want to say, does mean that GK Base has now got a 2-second lead in the second lap. The Hammer moving up into second position. All of these green arrows you can see in the positional changes just dictating, and there's another spin. Who have we got spinning again, Femi?
I don't know.
It's Nico John. It's Nico John.
Nico. Oh, Nico.
He's having to correct himself. He's very far behind now.
Oh, poor Nico.
I mean, I hate to say this, Femi, but can we revisit your podium prediction, please?
Hang on, we're on lap 3 of 35.
I know, but I just want to point out that you had Giannis winning and Nico John third. Oh, we've got another spin. It's only Tetra. Oh, we've got this Wall of Champions is not playing any games today. It's taken.
Giannis has pitted for his wing damage, so Giannis is in the pit. So it really is, as you said, there are drivers all over the shop. Those lots of green arrows on that side. So the biggest jumper is W. Butler's up 10 places, up to 7th place, which is a hell of a start for him after 3 laps.
Very much so. And the starting 4, it looks like it's really filtering out a little bit as we see Shep now managed to get a move done on Jesper moving up in the 9th position. The top 4 are pretty spaced out. And then we get a little bit of a gap here. It looks like some fighting between Innisfree, Tar Heels and Wafflehead. Tar Heels, the Tier 2 champion last season. What was Tier 3 champion, I should say, because there was an amalgamation of divisions. Not so far had a blazing start to the season, as it looks like Wafflehead now is going to go for a move. Wafflehead already flashing red, suggesting he's low on ERS, as it looks like Tar Heels manages to get the position done and moves up into 4th position.
Great move there by Tar Heels.
Oh, so we've got those 3 in position, still fighting out. We've then got W. Butler on a bit of an island, Planny, AD Shep, and then we get the big group of people. We've got everyone from Shep down to, who would you say, Rusty probably, all in a big group, all 6 drivers. And with Canada being quite a tricky place to overtake outside of the long straight, it's going to be definitely a part of the race that requires a lot of patience for these drivers.
It is indeed. Just checking the penalties now. We have 2 penalties ready. Robsu and only Tetra have already on 3 seconds, unfortunately, and they're in the back, so that's not going to do any favours to help catch up. But you're absolutely at the front, as you said before. GK Base is just stretching away. 3.5 seconds now. He's really pulling away from Hammer. But then the rest of the top 4 happily spaced out until we get back to Innis and Wafflehead. Innis is getting chased down by Wafflehead right now. Don't think a move's going to be on this lap, but yes, as is kind of standard with Canada, it's definitely already starting to find gaps between the drivers.
Very much so. So we see Rusty Oil Can moving ahead of Monkey Pill into 12th position. Robsu now getting Monkey Pill as well. Monkey Pill losing 2 positions on that home straight. Jesper, the first of our penalty point additions. We will just.
He's just taking Craig for 10th place. Good overtake into turn 1 there for Jesper.
Yes. Monkey Pill was trying to fight back in the second corner there, but unfortunately doesn't regain any position. It looks like Rusty's got him as well, so Monkey Pill losing 3 positions. Oh, and losing his front tyres as well, spinning around Monkey Pill. Monkey Pill also a PRL legend of the game who has fallen, unfortunately due to his availability, has just fallen a little bit onto the periphery, but someone we always love to see on track, and hopefully in the not too distant future we could see a bit more consistently, which should be good. But he unfortunately moves down to 15th. Meanwhile, we've still got the likes of Jesper, Craig, Robsy fighting, and we've still got Wafflehead and Innes fighting, as Robsy now moves up into 11th position and will fight along the home straight with Craig straight behind him.
Waffle Head, unfortunately, he's just got a 3-second penalty. He's actually only got 6% battery. So although he's absolutely on the back of Innes, that battery's not going to help him. Again, that long straight, you need to keep throwing in reserve there, because if you've got nothing, I don't think the DRS is quite strong enough to pull you along. So he's going to spend some laps, I reckon, recharging that battery to kind of give him a hand in a few more laps, because right now he's just going to kind of be dragged along by Innes and sit there until he gets a bit of an opportunity.
Very much so. Definitely patience coming in to that situation. I mean, I don't know about you. Is ERS an easy thing to charge around Canada? Do you know? I know definitely some tracks it's easier than others.
Not particularly. It's one of those ones where there's not that many heavy braking areas. You have one or two, but yeah, it's a tricky one. You don't have enough places where you're really slamming on the brakes to kind of recharge it. I'm just watching Wafflehead now, and he gains. Oh, careful! He gained 4% in the hairpin at the end of the track. That's not an awful lot when you think about the entire rest of the lap, really. So, yeah, it's a tricky one, really.
Very much so. It looks like Robsu going neck and neck with Jesper, and Craig is now trying to slip in and take advantage of this infighting. The three of them just not letting each other go. Rusty licking his lips in behind, hoping that he can take advantage with some of this. Robsy going for a move now. He's on the outside of Jesper. Jesper will the inside of the line, but Robsy gets the move done before he gets into the wall of champions, so will move up into that 10th position, but needs to very much be wary of the cars behind. Those four still fighting it out. We've then got, as we've mentioned, Innes and Wafflehead still neck and neck. We've got Butler and Polanyi still neck and neck. And interestingly, at the top, started to group together. The Hammer's now 6 seconds behind. GKBase got his lead, but Ramsey and Tar Heels very much closing in on second place.
Yeah, I've been watching Ramsey last few laps. He absolutely is on the back of that car. You're watching it as well now, I can see. And he's got a lot of fuel. He's got a lot of battery. This is where the difference might be. He's currently got 68% battery, and the Hammer's only on 15. So this could be an overtake, I think, coming up if Ramsey gets to sit down. Oh no! Oh, I'm so sorry, Ramsey. I'm so sorry, Ramsey. I was professionally giving you praise there, and I'm so sorry. Do you know what? I'm never going to say that again. Ramsey was there, so Ramsey unfortunately drops to 6th. I'm sorry, Ramsey.
I love how you went immediately into blaming yourself there.
Yeah, it's my fault. Yeah, I know. Yeah, as Chaos just said, Jinx. Yeah, despite that, he's still smashing it. He's still currently, despite that, in 6th place, and he's right behind Wafflehead and Innes, with a hell of a lot more battery still. So he's absolutely not out of it yet. Especially if Hammer's speed is kind of potentially grouping everyone up behind him.
Very much so. We've also got, very nicely, joining us in the chat, we've got the Premier Tier provisional race champion himself of Canada, Adri. Lovely to see you, Adri, as always. Chaos Druid agreeing that you jinxed Ramsey, but apparently that's usually my trick. I'm not sure I like the use of the word trick there. It suggests intent behind it. I like to think I'm impartial. Actually, I'm talking absolute rubbish. I'm not impartial at all. As we see, who else we got? What other fighting we got? There's quite a lot of...
Polanyi's right behind Butler. Again, a lot more fuel. Can Polanyi take W Butler on the straight here? He might be a little bit too far behind. Yeah, I think he's probably got a bit too much of a gap, unfortunately, to make that one happen.
What's quite interesting, I'm noticing here... Sorry to cut you off quickly there. It's that spacing hasn't occurred as much as I anticipated, but at the same time, not a huge amount of overtakes, which tells me that it's quite easy to follow, but very hard to overtake. Is that kind of in keeping with what you're seeing?
I think we all know that for Canada. Apart from the back straight, there's not a huge amount of places you can overtake here unless the car in front of you makes a bit of an error. It's not the easiest to get past people. You're kind of relying on the long straights at the end and the start of the lap, really, aren't you? So it makes it a bit tricky. So it's definitely about keeping behind. Again, watching. Who's that?
Oh, it's W Butler. W Butler's lost his front wing. The Red Bull.
He has lost his front wing. That's not going to do him any favours, and Shep's right behind him. Careful, Shep. Don't do anything silly here.
Shep's probably not going to be too happy about this. Shep, a Red Bull driver in Tier 2.
Gives him a little kiss on the bum.
Gives a lovely little kiss in the bum. Beautiful. Some people pay top dollar for that.
Yeah,
Will undoubtedly get a move done, as Butler will have to jump into the pits as Ramsey joins the 3-second club. Himself, Wafflehead, and now Innes fighting neck and neck.
Ramsey
It looks like
Ramsey just jumps Rufflehead into turn 1. Great overtake.
he does. Fantastic overtake. As Shep now gets Butler, with Butler jumping into the pits. And GK Base has now got an almost 9-second lead as we're on lap 10.
Smashing it.
Absolutely smashing it.
You were saying about the gaps. You can now see. So GK Base, no safety car, nothing goes on. Looks comfortable for a win here, unless anything, touch wood. I haven't jinxed him again. But yeah, from Hammer down to Wafflehead is now really closing up. And then you've got a big gap behind Wafflehead. And then that's where you then see the islands. Palani's kind of got a big old gap around him. Shep's got 5 seconds around him. Robsu's got gaps. So, yeah, you're kind of finding further down the grid, it's definitely starting to spread out. The real battle would seem to be for that second and third place.
Yeah, I think definitely the podium is going to be impossible to predict at this point. We've seen lots of spinning, but as you say, if assuming that there's no safety cars or any issues like that, any 5 of these drivers could be on the podium at this point, all right behind each other. And I do start to wonder, with the cars struggling to space out in a lot of instances, just how much of an impact these penalties are going to start to have. If we see that, for some instances, it's less than 3 seconds is 5 or 6 positions. We could see a huge change in the final standings between what finishes on track and post penalties being applied.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as we come through, almost a third of the race finished now. GK Base getting a 3-second penalty. It shouldn't impact him too much.
He's only 7.6 seconds ahead now, unfortunately. So.
He is going to be sweating. Absolutely sweating.
He's driving an absolute masterclass here.
Prince Andrew, take notes. Craig Dunn overtaking Jesper. Oh, Jesper, has he spun? Jesper has spun! Oh, that's now for Tarry, man. He hasn't lost his front wing, though. So he should be okay. He has dropped a lot of positions, though. He's lost a good amount of time, unfortunately. A good 5 to 10 seconds. Just needs to be careful of those tyres. With that spin, they're going to be roasting. Sorry, I translate that.
What was that?
That's supposed to be a northern accent, but we've got another spin.
Hang on, who's spun?
It's Wafflehead.
Oh, it's Wafflehead. Wafflehead, and he seems to be stuck in the middle of the track. Bless him.
Oh, don't get disqualified. Don't get disqualified.
Come on, go, quick.
Oh, why are you only reversing a little bit, mate? Reverse more.
He's going. Hopefully his wing's okay. I hope his wing's okay.
Careful your tyres, mate. Careful your tyres.
His wing looks alright. His wing looks alright. So, it's a shame for him. He's dropped down to 13th. That's
both out
really
for Towries. Oh, the pain.
How's Williams doing? Shep's up in 7th, and Nico's down in 17th currently.
Nico. The Haas are having a fantastic race, it has to be said. Ramsey and Palani in 5th and 6th. I mean, something to keep an eye on at this point. GK Base, 11-second gap. I know it's got his penalty, but 11-second gap into lap 12. As you say, assuming there's no safety car, I've got a new game for you, Femi. What's going to be higher, the final lap counter or the amount of seconds gap between Hammer and between second and Base? Hang on.
I don't even understand the question.
Okay, so currently we're 13 laps in.
Yes.
And GK Base has a 11.5-second gap to second.
Yes.
Come the end of the race, i.e.
Yes.
After the end of 35
laps. Are you
laps,
asking me is it going to be a 35-second gap?
Will there be more than 35 seconds between GK Base and second?
Ooh. No.
Great, cool. Moving on. So we've got the Hammer in second, Tar Heels, Innes and Ramsey still fighting out Plany Wafflehead, I should say, after his incident, now falling back. So we've just got a group of 4 at the front. Plany in a bit of an island in 6th. Shep, a good 5.5 seconds behind, but he's got Robsu just behind him. Craig again in a bit of a gap, and then we've got another little group forming. Rusty Tetra, Giannis. Giannis fighting his way through the grid. I mean, Tetra and Giannis are two cars that we had very much pipped for being up there right at the top come the end of the race. So I imagine they are going to be trying their best to fight their way up. Again, I take it from in the hell of breath, Femi, that something's happened. What have you got?
Yeah, just a bit of fighting at the back between Suzuki, Monkey Pill, and Jesper, and it's getting very tight, but it all looks quite clean. I think Jesper seems to have lost a couple of places there, unfortunately, to Monkey Pill and Suzuki, but yes, and Nico has lost his front wing. No, he hasn't. I can't tell. No, he's fine. He's fine. He just span.
Oh, he just span. Just span.
I know that sounded so dismissive. Nico. Nico.
Good job, Nico. You only span this time.
No, that did not say that. That makes me sound mean. He was picking up the idea for...
Ramsey spun. Ramsey spun.
Ramsey has spun.
Which means that group of...
Still...
That group of 6 that were at the top is now... We're down to a group of 3.
Down to 3.
It's like a reality TV show, slowly voting people out. We've got the Hammer, Tar Heels, and Innis left. Our final 3. Who can not spin? I think is the stage you're at with this.
But you've got to give Ramsey credit. He's spun twice, but he's still in 6th. I mean, he's still driving phenomenally well, considering those two mistakes, which shows the pace he's got in him. Yeah, he's doing really well here. Looking down the grid, we've got majority of the grid now actually getting penalties. Apart from that that little group at the front of 3, none of them have got penalties, which will be quite interesting later on. But yeah, Base, Ramsey, Craig, Rusty, Wafflehead, lots of 3s, but we've got only Tekka and Butler on 6. And we're saying, as you said, we're a third of the way through the race here. So there's going to be plenty more penalties coming in my opinion, which will be, as you said, at the end of the race. As I say, that Monkey Pill gets his is up to 8 seconds now, unfortunately, because he's sped in the pit lane.
That is not good.
Has Jesper, who was just retired.
Just retired in the pits.
In the pit lane. Yes, it is indeed.
Yes. Lovely. We've got Giannis, whilst you're talking there, moving up into 10th position, overtaking Rusty. Rusty now trying to defend the Aston Martin behind him. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. Oh, that is Jesper's car. He's done everything correct there, so no fault to him, but the game has decided to send him out in a driverless car. So that's going to be lovely. Hopefully it doesn't affect the drivers too much. Interestingly, the Hammer has actually lowered the gap to GK Base by a second. He's now only, and I massively emphasise the word only, 10.5 seconds behind. Tar Heels and Innis still very much chomping at the bit, keeping it clean. Was it Innis 4? Was he one of the people you predicted to have a podium?
He was indeed.
Oh,
so
you might get 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3, you never know.
I mean, don't. You know, you said that. You know, you were not going to.
And GK Base has got another 3 seconds. So we're now at 4-second gap between the Hammer and Base. And we're only halfway through we're halfway through the race here. This is very tasty.
Again, one of the Tar Heels gets his Tar Heels in that little group gets his first 3 seconds. Another one where this is one of those horrible tracks for 5-second penalties in the pit lane, because it comes at you so quickly. And you have to be super careful not to. I absolutely guarantee I will get 5 seconds because you were given no time to make that kind of break really before the pit lane limiter line comes in. So 5 seconds at the pit point could be interesting.
It could be interesting. I'm also going to prompt you with another question because I can feel a sneeze coming on.
Okay.
Who was a good driver?
So are we talking? I mean, that's a big question. Driver of change in society? Are we talking a driver of a Formula One car? We call it a driver, a bus driver. You know, I went on a date with a bus driver once. That was interesting. I don't know what their ability of driving a bus was like, but you know, maybe they were the best in the world. Who knows?
Yeah. Thank you for running with that. as I sneezed off microphone. I
actually haven't even asked the question, so you know.
Well, good for you is I now need to blow my nose, so I'm going to prompt you with another question, so I can go on mute again. What's your favourite type of way of telling the time?
I guess another crack question. Are you talking about verbally telling the time? Are you talking about emotionally telling the time? Are we? I would say sundials because that feels retro. Oh, hello, hang on. I'm actually going to do. I'm going to do actually my job, which is watch the racing. And Tiles almost got Hammer. But what this is doing is my prediction might be right. Both Hammer and Tar have got penalties here. As Tar has jumped Hammer. He has been behind him most of this race. Oh, and there's a spin. There's a spin. Both Innis tried to find a little gap there, and he's just knocked Hammer around. That's a shame. That's a shame. But Tar Heel's absolutely laughing right now. Got himself a 6-second gap behind him. So yes, that's and Polani's the big winner there. Jumps up into fourth. So yeah, that was not what we were expecting. Having a chat about fucking sundials, and in reality, there's actually stuff happening which we forgot about.
You know what that was? That was
What?
you jinxing Innis because you said he might.
Oh,
know.
hang on, I did do that, and do you know what? I bet it's fun. Do you know who's going to win? GK Base. GK Base is going to win really easily. He's going to win this so easily. What if nothing happened to him to cause some drama at the end of the race? Nothing's going to happen. I tell you what, as I said that, he almost hit the wall of champions. So, do you know
There
what?
you go. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
I'm not going to
Make it
say
interesting.
anyone's name. I think a driver will do well today.
Oh no, they're all going to crash now. They're all going to crash. You ruined it. We've got Ramsey taking Innis, moving up into fifth. We just got a question of who was that? Aidan Jones asking who's pitted so far. G Innis, Suzuki, W Butler, Wafflehead, Monkey Pill, and Nico John. However, I would say none of them are regulation pit stops. I mean, Innis actually, this is the first regulation pit stop. All of the others have been because of damage in some capacity. So Innis jumping in the pits now is the first. He'll be trying to take those mediums all the way to the end. Tar Heels.
It's interesting. The mediums are going a lot longer than I thought they would.
Robsy spun in eight.
Unlucky. The mediums have gone a lot further than I thought they would, which is great to know later on. But I didn't think they'd last this long. I mean, but from what people were saying earlier, that the mediums go off in terms of pace quite quickly. But yeah, I'm surprised how long they've gone. We're pretty far through this race, and a lot of mediums haven't pitted yet. So yeah, very interesting. I say a lot of mediums. Only four people started the mediums, so I say a lot. It wasn't many at all. But,
Well, the interesting thing is, with Tar Heels now, he's currently in second place. Here he comes into the pits now, gets in clean, avoids that 5-second penalty. He'll be jumping onto the hard, so the cars around him will obviously have the better tyre, who will inevitably jump onto the mediums. However, he will get a couple of laps on them, as inevitably the hards will want maybe 1 or 2 more laps. So I wonder whether having that long of a stint on the mediums is going to help him in the sense that, it helps him move up the positions that he has, or is it going to hinder him because it's going to, not give him enough lap difference between the hards pitting and himself pitting in the medium, and therefore taking advantage of the new tyre?
I think it's one of those ones where, as we've seen, amount of errors and issues, race your own race. I don't think anybody in this. We all enjoy esports, but we're not at a level where we're looking at those nuances. I think for a race like this in particular, do your thing, keep it clean, keep it tidy, and everyone else can do their own race. I wouldn't be worrying about my strategy dependent on what everyone else is doing around me, in regards of mediums and hards, if possible. Your pace has been great so far. Just keep going with that.
Words to live by. So we see that, where did he come out? Tar Heels comes out into sixth position.
He's got G in it right behind him, who's recovering brilliantly well here.
He very much
might have to pit. He might have to pit again because he did pit incredibly early.
And we're starting to see the hard drivers pitting now. Sorry to jump in there, but we've got a heap of people. So we've got Palani, we've got the Hammer, we've got Shep, we've got Suzuki. Suzuki actually will be pitting onto the hards. The others all going to be now pitting onto the medium. So we're going to see a very medium-heavy grid starting to form. Who else we got? We also got Craig. We've got not W Butler. Who else we got? I can't follow the names. Other people. There you go. Other people pitting.
Because at the front, Ramsey and Bates GK Base haven't pitted yet. Ines pitted on lap 2, so he will have to pit again, absolutely. But yeah, otherwise, that would kind of say Tar Heels is the one doing really well here. Another 3 seconds. Again, as I say his name, classic. Tar Heels doing great. Oh, wait, guess what I'm going to do? But as I say that, GK Base has just pitted. Let's see how far he comes out ahead.
He has pitted. Let's keep an eye on these times. Ramsey, will he
Ramsey
get the move?
doesn't follow him. Ramsey's still going.
He is still going, and he's not going to be able to get a move done.
He's not going to be close enough. No, he's too far behind.
No, he's not. But let's keep an eye, though, on the time between him and Tar Heels. They were 13 seconds, I believe, was the gap when Tar Heels went into the pit. And I think we are... Let's wait for it to refresh itself.
It's showing as about 9 seconds, so maybe.
Well, that's the gap between Tar Heels and
sorry,
Ramsey.
do you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm talking out my backside.
If
it's 14.5. It's 14.5.
There you go. 14.2. So
only Tessa puts faster lap in.
Ooh, very spicy. 113.2 on the fresh mediums. Tasty. Yeah, those drivers are really putting through. Giannis, I mean, he's still got to pit, to be fair to him, but he is not hating this. He is behind Tar Heels, who on the fresh tyre has got the pace to keep a far enough distance to not block Giannis, but not quite far enough to stop Giannis getting the DRS. So he's very much taking advantage of this.
We were not paying attention. I told you something would happen. I told you GK Base must have got a 5-second penalty in the pits because he's on 11 seconds of penalties.
Oh my word.
I told you. As I say that, Ramsey comes in the pits as well. So this could be spicy. Tar Heels is on 6. Giannis, smashing it right now, has no penalties whatsoever. But this will be interesting with GK because 11 seconds is a big chunk. And how far is Tar Heels behind him currently? 13. So if he's not careful, GK, those penalties could keep racking up.
Yeah,
he needs to look after what he's doing there.
He does. I mean, Giannis, if we now change this to leader, Giannis is 4 seconds from the lead. And as someone that started on pole, he's got the pace to regain that time.
I doubt surely he can't go to the end on these mediums. He put him on lap 2.
Yeah, very true.
Who's that? That is
Red Bull.
Red Bull, and that is
Monkey Pill.
Monkey Pill. Monkey Pill.
Oh,
is he stalled? Did he stall the car? No, he's not moving. He's doing something. He's going again. There we go. Come on, Monkey Pill. Don't stop. Come on. But you can see now the points, the penalties are racking up. We've got only Tekka on 14 penalties. Sorry, language. Apologies to any children watching on the stream. Butler on 9. We've got Robsu on 9. We've got Suzuki on 8. These are big penalty points here.
Penalty points. The Hammer losing his car a little bit there, getting overtaken by Innes, 4, who now moves up to 4th position in the Mercedes. I mean, we talked about it before the race, but probably in a more extreme fashion than I anticipated. Penalties really are going to completely shape this entire grid come the end of the race.
It's a nightmare of a track for that. Like, every corner is so close in terms of, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say. It's easy to get penalty bounce here. Each corner is quite easy to cut or go slightly wide on the outside. So I'm surprised about number in terms of people getting really high numbers. It's gonna come into play at the end. You know, I don't think anyone can be comfortable where they are on track at this point. As Monkey Pill's retired, is that in the pits? That's in the pits.
Monkey Pill retiring in the pits.
He has indeed. Which brings Nico up to 16. Come on, Nico!
Come on, Nico.
Only another 13 people to overtake.
Very much so. As we've GK Base
the game's doing the thing again where there's a Red Bull coming out the pits that's retired, unfortunately. So
love that.
Good old game. What a great game.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, EA. You really have done it again.
He's vanished. Okay, Monkey Bill's gone now.
Cool.
GNS is we've got a pitter. What's going on there? Yeah,
GNS is on the softs.
He's just pitted. Do you think he can go 10 laps on softs? Maybe. The mediums weren't. So. Well, do you know what? If they do happen, I will be using that tragedy in an hour's time.
Well, let's keep an eye on him. I mean, this is the beauty of commentating. You can take strategies from people. Right, we'll keep an eye on Giannis there.
He comes out in ninth place with no penalties. He is. How far is he from? So if he catches up 23 seconds in these next 10 laps, he's won the race.
So he's got to go 2 seconds a lap. Yeah, no, that's not happening.
You say that, but we just watched him win the Premier Tier pretty much.
I don't think GK Base is going to have any more issues.
No, I'm saying that Giannis can do a lap time that's 2.5 seconds faster than anyone else.
Oh no, you've jinxed it now. He's going to crash. You're supposed to say something negative about the people that he's racing against.
Giannis is rubbish at racing.
Oh, it's too late now. It's too late. He's now, because you said that, he's not going to get to the end of the race.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I can.
Honestly, I'm never going to be able to do this again, am I?
Nope. You're banned from the booth.
Imagine if I did this by myself and it was just me talking. It'd be chaos. There'd be no one finishing.
Oh, you have to. If we do Monaco next season, you have to commentate Monaco.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm absolutely doing that. And also, we should have Monaco. Why no one voted for Monaco is beyond me. All you people who voted against Monaco are bad people.
Yeah. Oh my god! An Alpine has got into the swimming pool. I didn't think that was possible in this game, but we've got an Aston Martin's on a yacht. This is. I don't know how this has happened. Right, so a lot of these cars are now starting to spread out. We've got the two Haas are pretty close together. But other than that, it's mainly the cars towards the back of the grid, kind of 11th to 14th, who are relatively close. The spacing out seems like...
I want to see how fast this lap can be. I want to see if Giannis can put a lap that's 2.5 seconds faster.
Well, you keep tabs on that and come back to us.
I am going to.
Butler getting another 3 seconds. What's he on now? 12 seconds. I think there's another game in and of itself. Who can get the most penalty points come the end of the race? Tetcher's currently leading that with 14 seconds. As we see Suzuki getting a move done on Craig. Craig now under attack from W. Butler in the Red Bull. Butler has exactly 0% ERS. Whereas Craig has a good healthy 12%. Oh, the Red Bull, very aggressive. Kind of looks like he did that move off track, but we'll let the game sort that out. But that little battle does mean now they've just fallen back a little bit. So Suzuki now is eyeing up Robsu, hoping to get the move done as quickly as he can, the Mercedes man. It looks like some of the other drivers are starting to catch up towards the top of the grid now as well. Only Tetcher within a second of Shep. We've got Ramsey within a second of Polani. And we've got the Hammer within a second of Innes. How is G Innes doing with his lap times, Femi?
He's not 2.5 seconds faster, but he's clearly fast. So maybe there's a miracle to happen.
Maybe.
But it's interesting. Those softs are not as quick as I was expecting. His first lap out the pits wasn't the fastest lap on those softs. So it's interesting. They don't seem to have the pace difference that I thought they might do.
Therefore, maybe showing that it's not the best tyre strategy, depending on how much lifespan he can get. There you go, he does put in, so it's a 1:12.8. Let's have a look at fastest lap. So 1:12.8. It's a good, 3-4 tenths off of GK Base's quickest lap on the medium. So, and considering Giannis was a pole position, it's not necessarily a ability thing that's stopping it. I think you are right. I think maybe the softs aren't as quick as people remember them being in previous iterations of cars. But we'll keep an eye on Giannis though in a current three-way battle. Tetcher in front of him and Shep in front of that. Shep reserving up from Tier 2. As we mentioned before, he's doing 2 of 3 consecutive races, so he must be absolutely squadooshed.
He's driving brilliantly there, Sam. He's doing really well. Really driving well. 0 penalties. Driving lovely, as Tahil gets another penalty. He's doing really well there. Ramsey takes 5th. Ramsey's jumped up to 5th. Another reserve from Tier 1. And hang on. Shep's just been overtaken. I just said that. And Shep's been overtaken by 2 cars. Yeah, for crying out loud. Honestly.
Stop talking. Stop talking in positive. Stop complimenting people. You know it's going to happen every time you. Rob Sue.
And
He's now a champion.
It's
a full safety car. It's a full safety car.
Oh,
full safety car.
This is going to be chaos. Inez 4 is currently in provisional lead because he's got 0 penalties. Inez is laughing. Polani laughing.
Giannis is effectively in provisional third place.
So I am heartbroken for GK Base. I shouldn't have said anything because I told you something would happen. But I'm gutted for him because he had this win in the bag. But that 11 seconds, that 11, he's pitting. GK Base is pitting.
Oh, let's keep it. Yes, pit stops.
He's got a massive gap behind him, so he can definitely jump out for another pair of softs. He won't know that. I mean,
he's serving a penalty. He's serving a penalty. So Tar Heel's going to jump him. Tar Heel's is not pitting.
That's not a terrible idea. That's actually a pretty good idea, I say, by GK Base.
Yeah, because he's effectively
a massive difference.
Yeah, he's effectively now just used that 5 seconds is no longer going to affect him.
That's a very good idea by him, and he comes out in
P3,
third place. You know what? I think that was a good shout. I think it was a really good tactical move there.
We've got the Hammer who has jumped into pits for some fresh softs. We've got Tetcher jumping in for some fresh softs, also serving a penalty. Shep, fresh softs, no penalty served. Wafflehead, yeah, I think you're right. These penalties being served in the pits now is brilliant because it's so painful. This close to the end of the race, penalties are going to be devastating.
We're going to be going again on what, lap 32? So if you've got, you know, we'll take GK 11 seconds behind. That's everybody. So bringing it down to 6 with people's penalties around you, that's going to make him. That's definitely a good shout. So yeah, I think if you've got a 5 second, it's annoying this game. You can't serve 3 6-second penalties and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, I think removing your 5 seconds is absolutely worth it because you're not going to bring up a gap in the last 3 laps.
Yeah, and also interestingly, all these drivers on fresh softs, I have a feeling a fair few of them are going to assume they're going to have a level of traction higher than tyres around them that they're not actually going to have. If we can use GNS as an example, the softs aren't as quick as you would expect them to be. So I think that realistically, the fresh tyres, you know, a lot of the cars around that didn't pit aren't on that heavier usage. You know, Ramsey 7 laps, Planning 9. I mean, they're definitely worn, but they're not devastating. I mean, Tar Heel's 10 laps on the hard. So again, I do think there's not going to be a huge amount of tyre difference when it comes to when these guys start racing, especially at this level. I think realistically, the penalties are the biggest thing for these drivers.
And I will say, I said at the start, right now, Inez and G-Inez are on a podium.
Well, now they're not going to. Yeah, you've just said it, so now neither of them are going to get a podium.
No, they are. No, because I'm going to prove that I was actually right the whole time, and it's a symbolism of life that sometimes you get knocks and hardships, but you battle your way through them. And W. Butler, don't get a 3 seconds under the safety car. Not under the safety car. No. But yeah, I think this is a symbol showing through hardships, through somebody telling you you're not good enough, you are good enough, you know, and you are good enough to get a podium. Even though I did tell them they were good enough, so actually I've just ruined my own metaphor there.
And your third podium person
I said nothing of importance there.
And your third podium person is last. Yeah, but he's last.
Yeah,
he's 15th.
But he's only got a 3 second penalty, and there's quite a few cars in front of him.
Yeah, but he's 15th. He's last.
Yeah, but he's only got 3 seconds.
Yeah, but he's last.
But come on, Nico, prove me wrong, anyway. Do it for Williams.
So
safety cars, another lap.
Adri's asking you to stop.
Never. Oh, safety cars in the lap. That's a very late call. Very
late call. That is a very late call.
It's a very late call.
That is a really late call.
That's a very late call.
That is a really late call. Tar Heels is gone.
Anyway,
that's an early go there from Tar Heels. That's really early. That is really early from Tar Heels. Really early.
Immediately under threat and for base.
Yeah, he's been jumped because that was such an early gun for their Tar Heels, and GK Base is finding. Oh, it was so early from Tar Heels. Really took full advantage there.
But mainly, it was quite a late call.
It was a late call. The call was late, and GK Base has got it done.
Second.
Base is second.
He does make the corner. So Tar Heels currently, because of the serving the penalty, Tar Heels has to put out a 3 second gap here. However, Inez in third, just needs to follow behind. Innes can be really careful here, and he's got the win. Don't do. It's again watching the race earlier. Adri won because just didn't have to do anything. Oh, who spun? Suzuki spun. Suzuki spun, bless him. That's not, at this point, not going to be any good for him. No, Adri won earlier, but he had no penalties and just sat behind the two leaders. And Innes 4 can do exactly that. He's got nothing to race for. Even if Ramsey behind him gets him, you're not going to lose 6 seconds. So just clean, tidy, sit behind. You've got this.
And I just also want to say that Innes 4 currently this season has 3 second places under his belt and no wins. So this could be a lovely moment for him. Could be his first victory of. Oh, we've got an incident. Shep has hit the wall of champions.
Shep. Oh, lucky Shep.
And his front. Oh, he's lost an end plate.
And Suzuki pits as well, unfortunately.
And also importantly, Tar Heels and Innes are both out of DRS. We haven't had DRS yet. We will get 2 laps of DRS for the end of the race, but both of them have fallen outside of it. Ramsey, right up. Innes behind him, only half a second. So, as much as Innes wants to follow the cars in front, he needs to make sure he doesn't get overtaken, because that will lose him a lot of time from the leaders. As we see, is that Tetra moving on the inside of the McLaren?
Good overtake on Craig there.
And
I've not seen much of Craig this race. I feel like I haven't said Craig's name yet. Come on, Craig.
Butler
has spun. So, do you know who's 12? Nico John. Do you know who's also got it? He's probably going to jump another person. Nico's going to get. Come on, Nico. Come on, Nico.
Ramsey is. GK base.
Craig and Waffle. And we've lost Craig. Craig has spun. Do you know why Craig spun? Because I literally 30 seconds ago said I haven't said Craig's name, and Craig goes down to 13th, which puts Nico up to 11. Okay, who's ahead of Nico? I haven't said the Hammer's name recently. I haven't said only Tetcher's name recently. I haven't said Rusty's name recently.
I do wonder, because you said some names of drivers that haven't had any incidents involved in them. I'm starting to wonder now that it's just the laws of probability. You talk so much that statistically...
Hang on. Actually, saying that, we did agree before this that I would be the assistant speaky person, if that's a technical term.
Yeah, that is the technical term, yes.
And Wafflehead's done. Wafflehead's done, and I've literally just said Wafflehead's name.
Yeah, because you said the half of the grid's name. And Shep's lost his front wing.
Oh, Shep.
Innes is back in.
It's a real shame. He was doing really well, he was. He was brilliant up there. So.
He was. Ramsey is coming to P4.
Butler's stuck on the track and he's recovering. That's unfortunate for him as well.
That is unfortunate. Right, last lap of the race. GK Base. It's Ramsey! It's Ramsey who's in P4!
Oh, Ramsey. Really unfortunate for Ramsey.
You know what that means, though? Currently, as it stands, no, Tar Heels is now almost 6 seconds behind.
That gap is come out of nowhere.
What that? I mean, Base put on a fastest lap. He must be just stonking on the softs. Base is fast.
He's currently winning this.
He is. Right, I'm going to... You know what? I need to go lead a difference. There we go.
He's currently winning this.
He is. He is. He's leading this race.
Base is... Do you know what? If Base wins this after that pit stop, he's driven this like an absolute pro to take the lead again after dropping to third at the start. Absolutely blistering pace here. This is brilliant. This is genuinely brilliant driving by him.
This is serious stuff. Right, as we see GK Base coming through the final long straight over the chicane. Here we go. This is where it all matters. These penalties will come through. The standings will shift. Base takes the provisional win. Tar Heels is going to cross the line. Tar Heels is going to lose a lot of positions here, but let's see how it goes. We're watching the top left of our screens as they all cross the line now. Base wins it. Innes comes second. Polani comes third. Innes comes fourth. The Hammer fifth. Tar Heels will settle for sixth. Rusty seventh. Nico John will finish in eighth position.
Nico, you are an absolute legend. Great recovery there. Can you how much he didn't enjoy that? Probably. Yeah. He did say before. He did say before the race he wasn't looking forward to it. That's a great recovery. And again, Innes have come to fourth. That's a phenomenal recovery from him. That's really good. But GK Base, well done.
Take a bow.
That's a stonking
Tickaboo,
last few.
son. Tickaboo.
Tickaboo. That's a stonking last few laps because he was fifth or sixth at the point of the restart.
It was.
So.
It was. So that is a recovery. It means that GK Base will take his third win of the season. Innes will take his fourth podium, and Palani will take his third podium. So, Quick Drivers leading it through. Driver of the day, the game giving it to Rusty. Femi, who's your driver of the day?
I mean, you have to give it to GK. He drove that flawlessly, and that recovery at the end, brilliant. So I think he's the deserved winner of the race and probably driver of the day. I mean, Tar Heels drove it wonderfully as well. He started near the back, so I'd say one of those two would be mine. What about you?
Hammer. Right, here's the podium. We're seeing now Aston Martin taking the win, GK Base taking the plaudits, the Mercedes and the Haas drivers also on the podium there. There's the trophy being given to him. Here comes the champagne.
Ugly-looking staff at Aston Martin,
rude.
aren't they?
Very, very rude.
Look at them. They're not pretty, are they?
Very rude. It's really uncalled for. Really, really uncalled for.
It's not very professional, is it?
No. Right, so the final standings for the Tier 1 race. We've got GK Base taking the win. Innes 4 in P2. Palani finishing up the podium. G Innes in P4. The Hammer P5. Tar Heels P6. Rusty P7. Nico P8. Only Tetra P9. Shep P10. Wafflehead P11. Craig P12. Ramsey P13. Suzuki P14. Butler P15. And then your DNS are Robsu, Monkey, and Jesper. Suzuki got the fastest lap, so no fastest lap points will be given. I'm going to now scroll through the incidents so we have it. And Femi, with only 30 seconds left, any final thoughts?
I am going to say another big shout out here to Palani, qualifying 12th, finishing third. That's a brilliant recovery from him as well. So really well done for him to get on the podium there.
And with that, we'll bid you adieu. Thank you very much. Join us for Tier 2's race, which will be starting in approximately half an hour, 30 minutes. Other than that, I've been Cheryl Shaft. With me has been Femi Thrustmaster. Oh, sorry, you're going to... Right, let me...
I was going to say my name.
Okay, very, very quickly. I've been Cheryl Shaft.
I've been Femi Thrustmaster.
And we'll bid you adieu. Good night.